Guess who's back? Man, oh man.
It's been a while since I saw you.
It feels so good to be back. RJ's got improved technology over there. I got new lighting over here. The boys are back in town. I think RJ's about to cut out in a minute here. Oh, no, he went to reach for it. I thought that was the normal cutout. You went to go get it.
Good.
RJ, welcome back. We're back. How are we feeling?
Tyler, I'm feeling fantastic. Just so much, man. It's crazy, this game, man. We've had a card every single weekend for I can't even remember how long. It's just like things keep happening. Stuff happens fast in the fight world game, bro. It's like we have a lot to talk about. We don't even have the time to catch up on everything because there's just so much happening. You know?
Yeah.
Where do we want to go first? What should we talk about? Huh? Should we talk about bantamweight?
It's a good question. We can talk about bantamweight. We could start at the bottom. I got the rankings up here. Do you want to start at the bottom, flyweights, and work our way up and see how long we make it? Do we just start talking?
I feel like each division has its own video.
They can easily have their own video in each division, and bantamweight is arguably probably the most difficult to manage and run through with so much going on. Well, let's start there. We've said it a few times. Let's start with the bantamweight.
It's fresh, yeah. It's right on the top of the head, you know, because I mean we have a new champion, right? There's nothing that gets divisions shaken up more than a brand new champion, because you know just last week it's like, well, what's next for Aljo? Now all of a sudden 100 doors just opened, right? It's like we got Sugar Sean O'Malley, the new champ. First of all, Tyler, did you ever see Sugar Sean becoming a champion? And in the fashion that he did, beating Aljo, let me just ask you that off the top.
It's hard to say. He's a superstar, right? He came into the UFC already a star with his name, with his brand, with everything else he had going on with him. He was a star. Promotional wise, Dana White was going to promote him to be a top dog off the rip, and that was the case with the Peter Yan fight. Did I see him becoming a UFC champion in arguably the most stacked division on the planet right now? I cannot say I did. Aljamain Sterling was on a roll. He looked like he was unbeatable, on his way to becoming the greatest bantamweight of all time, arguably in some people's eyes, the greatest. So it was a tall order off the rip for Sean, and he proved me wrong because I did pick Aljamain to beat him.
I think, honestly, dude, I think everybody had Aljo winning that fight. Like, I'll say, like, I'm a Sugar Sean fan. Like, I think his striking is beautiful to watch. He's obviously like got an exciting personality, right? You know, he's just bright, lots of colors. Like, obviously that's his whole personality. And, you know, I thought one day he could be champion. You know, I thought he had the skills, and he's just one of those guys where he's in the right weight class. Like, he looks like a giant in there competing against some of these other guys. It's like, you know, he's very skinny. He looked funny with the belt because the belt like comes up to his nipples and it's so big on him. But he is a very tall and lanky guy. He's got some reach. I did think that one day he would be champion, but I didn't think he would get there, A, this quickly, and B, against a guy like Aljo. Like, I honestly, not many people, if they say they had Sugar Sean, they're lying. Like, not a lot of people were picking him going into that fight. It's just a stylistic thing. Like, you see Aljo's strengths and you see Sugar Sean's weaknesses, and you're like, okay, well, he's going to take him down and get his back, choke him out, right? Like, I think that's how 90% of the MMA fan base saw that going. But with that being said, like, they're both good at what the other one's bad at, right? So it just definitely was an interesting stylistic matchup. You got Aljo just overextended a little bit, just enough to leave that chin up, and he got laid out, bro. And it was incredible. I was freaking out. Let me ask you, did you think the stoppage was early?
No, I didn't. And that's coming from someone I was pulling for Aljamain, right? I wanted him to win more than I probably, no. I thought he was going to win more than I wanted him to win. With that being said, you let that fight go on 15, 20 more seconds, Aljo's going to get hurt badly. Like, I understand, give the champion all the chance in the world. I believe, I don't know who was the ref in that. I think it was Mark Goddard, right? Mark Goddard's a pretty reputable referee. He's usually pretty good with his stoppages. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought, give Sean 15 more seconds, he would have done some pretty bad damage to Aljamain. You look at Aljamain's face after that fight, he was already pretty badly hurt. I mean, he had cuts, he was beat up. I'm fine with that stoppage. I have no problems with that one.
I totally agree. I mean, a lot of people were making a big fuss out of it. I thought it was a good stoppage. First of all, he got the initial drop was like, oh, you know, and then he landed a couple, and it was like, oh man, it's over. Like in that moment, this is the funny thing. If he had stopped it 10 seconds earlier, I think nobody would have had a problem. He landed a couple, then he started to scramble a little bit. He landed a couple more. Then he passed the guard, landed a couple more. And as Aljo was kind of going to turtle, you know, that's when the ref stepped in. I'm with you. I think if you had allowed Sean to get off a couple more clean ones, it would have been ugly. Like, you know, it would have been sleep KO. Like, you know what I mean? So let the man have some of his, you know, he got to walk out of there, and that's good. The funny thing is, even Aljo didn't really have much to say about the stoppage. He was cool with it, super humble. I mean, we could talk about Aljo for a minute. I think he's going to be more beloved after how he dealt with that loss than he had been throughout his entire title reign. I mean, people never gave him his fair shake, you know, because of the Peter Yan thing, and then the Dillashaw shoulder falling off, and like, you know, Aljo didn't get enough credit as it was. But now I think seeing how he kind of took that loss like a man, and you know, just shook himself off, and you know, and gave props to Sean, and even kind of gave like a compliment to Volk in there as well, like in his post-fight thing. Like, it's just kind of funny that he was like, look, that wasn't how we wanted it to go, and hats off. Like, you know, I really appreciated how he handled that. And you know, the big question, right? Does he stay in 35? I think the consensus now is that he wants to stay. I personally would like to just see him move up. He doesn't have to fight Volk right away. He can. I think Aljo should move up. That weight cut's brutal. He's never really had a problem with it, but he's getting older, and I would just like to see him move up. You don't have to fight the champ right off the bat. You could get a couple top 10 guys. Just get him in the mix. Give him like a.
Let me see. Let me look at this division right now.
Yeah.
You can give him a Arnold Allen, maybe. He's coming off a loss. You can give him a Calvin Kattar, top 7.
Where's Ortega?
He's number 3.
Oof. Okay, yeah, I mean, maybe though, like, because I kind of like that matchup,
and he's been on the shelf a little bit. I wouldn't mind it. It's an interesting stylistic matchup between those.
Like, I kind of want to see something like, you know, like, I don't necessarily want to just put him in there. I would feel bad giving Arnold Allen, because like, Arnold Allen's on the come up. He's a great guy. He just took his first loss, and then to throw him someone like Aljo would just be like an absolute nightmare for him.
Yeah.
So I don't really like that for Arnold. I would like to see somebody like a Calvin Cater, like Ortega, somebody who's kind of like been fighting for their position. And I mean, Ortega has like a handful of losses. So the fact that he's still in the top 5, like that kind of, to me, makes sense. Like, you get to welcome the former bantamweight champion into the weight class, and we'll see how he does. Like, let's get his beak wet a little bit before we just go throwing him Volkanovski. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Ortega probably makes the most sense. The only other name I would probably say would make sense, he's top 5 still. No, he's number 6. Sorry, is Josh Emmett, who's been around for quite some time. He's on a string of a few bad losses. I mean, he can be a nice welcome for what's his face? Jeez, I'm blanking on the name. Sterling. Sorry, Aljamain.
For Aljo, yeah, I
those
agree.
two I would say would make the most sense looking at these names right now in the top 10. However, if I think Aljo has just come out on social media and said he wants that rematch 100%. Do we give him the immediate rematch? Now let's go back to bantamweight, right? We're back on bantamweight.
Yeah.
There's a million number 1 contenders right now. There's a champion that has been reigning for years who wants a rematch. There's a guy on with the belt right now who is fresh with the belt, who is a superstar, who Dana White wants to be the champion. Who do you give him next?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because Aljo certainly deserves it. Like, if there is a champion, I mean, I think he's the winning most champion in the division ever. See, I'm pretty sure he's got the most title defenses consecutively. So it's like, does he deserve it? Yes. Is it something that I want to see right away? Not really. It's really not. And I don't know if that's just because I want to give Sugar Sean a chance and kind of like grow into his belt a little bit, because I think if you run it back right now, Aljo plays a completely different game. He leaves in 0 openings, and we probably get like a much less exciting fight, which Aljo probably wins. And it's like, but the problem with shelving him for a fight, give him somebody else. It's like, well, who do you give him? Because he already fought all the top contenders. Do you give him Sandhagen again? Aljo, that is. It's like, because him and Sandhagen, they had that fight where it was like a clean beatdown, but Sandhagen didn't really get going in that fight. And Sandhagen's obviously, right, we could talk about this, been working on his wrestling a lot in the past couple camps. All he's been doing for the past 2 fights has been wrestling. So it's like, I think there might be something better for Sugar right off the bat.
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say, all eyes are on the Chito Vera rematch.
Yeah, which I think is kind of exciting, because I like the style, I like the matchup, and also I like the what do you call it? Like, I don't know, I just like the revenge. Like,
the storyline.
There's a story there, Sugar had some problems with his legs. Like, that's not news to us. Like, he had a couple fights. The fight before that was, he won it, and he's laying on the octagon floor getting interviewed by Rogan while he's like upside down. It's like his legs were beat up, and and I'm not taking anything away from Chito because he kicked the leg off and won the fight. So it's like, good for him, you know what I mean? But it's like, there is that slight asterisk, even if it's just because of the way that Sugar Sean told that story, which is good on him, you know what I mean, for keeping himself in the, he basically lost, but like didn't really lose. And he did that all himself, just with like Twitter and Instagram and like the microphone. So good for him. I think it's cool. I don't really see another way that Chito gets a title shot. So it's like, that's another reason I would like to see it, because as we've talked about a million times on our show, like, Chito's the fucking man, and I would love to see him get a title shot. It's also cool to see if Sugar Sean can get that revenge, get that one back. You know what I mean? So that one, I get it and it makes sense, and I'm not mad at it. The person that really gets screwed over is Dvalishvili.
Knew it was
no
coming.
matter what. Yeah, because he deserves it probably more than anybody, but Suga's not talking about him. And then if Aljo comes back, well, that just pushes the Dvalishvili fight back even further. Because let's say they give it to, because then what happens? Either your homie wins and then now you're still not going to fight it, or your homie gets to fight him and you have to wait that whole time. What do you want to not fight until the middle of next year? Because that's what's going to happen if your boy comes back to the division. So it's like Dvalishvili's going to get screwed. Sandhagen's there, definitely has a story to be told in the division. He could go for the next title shot, but he's not really like, he's not very vocal. Like he doesn't talk a lot of smack. He doesn't call his shots. He's kind of like, give me whoever, I'll fight the toughest guys, which is cool as a fighter, but like that's not going to get you the next title shot. You got to like make a little bit more noise. And even though his ranking isn't super good yet, Umar Nurmagomedov?
Yep.
Is it Umar?
It's Umar.
One of them. Umar. Umar is a savage, undefeated. So it's like he's still waiting for. He's going to get a big fight with whoever it may be.
Yeah.
Then you got Cejudo. It's like,
yeah, where
this
is
division?
This?
Yeah, this division's like a mess right now. And I'll tell you what, like, I would like to see Dvalishvili either fight Umar or Cejudo. I'm okay with both of those. I think those are both great fights. And if Dvalishvili gets through either one of those guys, there's zero denying it. For Corey,
Cejudo, maybe?
Whoever the Dvalishvili doesn't fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The problem is when you have, he was scheduled against Umar, right? And then like Umar had a bellyache or something and pulled out. We don't really know what happened. Like, we don't actually know what happened.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know what happened.
Like he just like didn't feel good, so he didn't fight. So I don't really know if he run that one back. I kind of hated that from the get-go when they announced it. So like if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be too upset about it. I
like
man.
I like your call. Give Merab Umar because he wants to sit around and let Aljamain do his thing. Make him fight someone that maybe doesn't deserve it. But if you're going to hold the number one spot, well, he's number 2 now because of Aljo. But if you're going to hold that top spot and not fight and wait for your boy, then you might as well fight someone in the outside of the top 10, which Umar is number 11. So I say give Merab Umar. That's a fun stylistic matchup too.
It's great, and we get to see if Umar's really like about that.
Yeah,
because Dvalishvili's proven time and time again that he is about that life. I mean, to do what he did to Piotr Jan and to Jose Aldo, like, you know, that's legit. But now we got the young gun who's like got sort of a similar style. It's like, let's have them go duke it out and, you know, and figure that thing out. It's such a funny one, man, because I would like to see Sandhagen get his due, but his last couple fights weren't like that exciting. Because I would love to see Sandhagen versus Sugar Sean. I think that
phenomenal.
Is it an insanely fun fight. I just really hope that Corey doesn't try to wrestle.
Yeah. I mean, he might not try and do it as much as Rob Font fight, but I think he'll mix it. He's just become one of those guys who's using all of his tools, which you can't blame him for. It's like a GSP type thing. He's using the tool that the guy is not very good at to win the fight, which you got to respect.
Yes. You have to respect that, and the fact that he's able to do it against these high-level guys. And, like, obviously he knows, I mean, he was calling out Dvalishvili, which nobody does. He was scheduled to fight Umar, which nobody wants. Like Corey's about it. He wants to fight these guys. and he knows that he's going to have to get better in the grappling areas. So like I do have mad respect for him, like going out there, getting better as a complete martial artist. However, it's like the reason that we love Corey Sandhagen is like flying knees and beautiful striking, and to have him in there against another striker, you want to expect like this beautiful clash of styles. That's what I was hoping for with Rob Font. That's what I would hope for against Sugar Sean. And it's not exactly what we got. And
partially because of his whole elbow thing in the first.
Well, the tricep. There was the tricep.
Whatever.
And he went through the entire camp thinking he was going to be going with Umar.
A Dagestani.
So, like, right. So, I can understand it, but I'm trying to not think of it as like a fan. I'm trying to think of it as like if I was Uncle Dana and I just saw your last two fights and what's going on. It's like, how do you reward? Like we all think we're showing you highlight reel knocking out Frankie Edgar, and then you like sniff Rob Font's crotch. It's like hard to like reward that with a title shot. Like you know what I mean? A win is a win, but it's hard to give a title shot off something like that. Same thing with Dvalishvili. It's like you're not doing yourself any favors by just like sidelining yourself and like not talking any smack. And like he said the jacket thing. He's like, we'll fight for the jacket and the belt. Like that's fucking funny.
It is
like
funny.
I appreciated that, and I thought that was like kind of cool. But you can't like say that and then at the same time be like, well, my buddy's going to come do the fight and then I'm just going to hang out until after and then maybe do it if my buddy doesn't win. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, so you're not fighting for a year. Like you just told us, like, we don't even have to think about you. The fight game is too fast paced, bro. We're going to already be talking about something else in a week from now and something else after that. So it's like, to just say that you're going to go away until the middle of next year, it's like, okay, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
I think Chael Sonnen just aired out all his anger on Merab about this whole spiel.
I bet, dude.
And yeah, at the end of the day, it's his career. He's going to look back and when he's done 15 years from now and probably regret letting Aljamain do his thing while he just sat around as the number one contender, because he's been the number one contender for how long now? Ever since the
almost a year.
Peter Yan fight, which was quite some time ago. So yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't like what he's doing, but we'll see what happens with what he does in the future.
Yeah, man. This division is like wide open for like whoever makes the most noise right now. And the thing is that this is why we're kind of in a great spot, right? The thing is, it's hard to make more noise than Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
Like that guy's your champion right now. And he won it in beautiful, exciting fashion. And he's gonna, like, people hate it. They'll call it Dana White privilege. They'll call it whatever they want. But like, when you study the greats, Conor McGregor, Israel Adesanya, like when you really see what these guys do, they call their shots, they go out there and perform, and then they get the special treatment. Like if Suga says, I'm going to fight this guy because he's been talking a little crazy and I want to go shut him up, just him saying that gives you some anticipation. It makes you like want to see the fight. So if he doesn't have your name in his mouth, it's not looking good for you. And you could call it privilege, call it whatever you want, but like you got to go draw a line in the sand and put your name on the table, because otherwise, like, no one cares. And Sugar Sean is smart enough to like recognize that part of the game. And ironically, that's why it's looking really good for Cheeto, because because Sean wants that one back, and Cheeto's like, yo, we'll fight.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Cheeto's down. He's game. So I don't know. It's just, this division's so interesting. Piotr Jan's out there, like
he's still sitting at number 5. So if he can just rack up a few wins here, he's right back there, and he's arguably
right back
one of
in
the
it.
most talented in that division, despite what his record may say right now. But
I agree. I mean, he's had a couple. I think he's got to get his head right.
yeah,
It's
he
one of
just
those,
needs
like-
a win. He needs a win.
Yes.
He needs a win bad to get, because I love watching him. He's so fun to watch, technical wise. But yeah, what a bantamweight division this is. And while we're on the topic of title shots, we might as well bring this up because it's only one division up, and we've been talking about the featherweights. Max Holloway just took out the Korean Zombie. Shout out to the Korean Zombie on a beautiful career. We love you. What a guy. Enjoy retirement. Legend in the making. We can do a whole video on him if we wanted to. But after this Max Holloway win, I think he's undefeated in the featherweight division outside of Alexander Volkanovski. I believe he's 18-0 outside of Volk.
Well, since his loss to Conor.
Yes, correct.
That was like his first he was like a kid. So like they probably started that stat after that.
Yeah, probably. But he has beaten literally everybody in the division, maybe 2 times, besides the champion. But what do you do with Max Holloway right now? Because Volk is going to fight Ilia Topuria, most likely. Hasn't been announced. If he gets through that one, what does Max Holloway do? Take out another up-and-comer? Like, what do we do?
Well, for Max, like I've heard a lot of people talk about having him go up again, which one, like he did the Poirier experiment where we all kind of knew he wasn't like officially changing weights. Like he didn't do the John Jones thing where like he's going to take some time off, lift some weights and eat some steaks. You know what I mean? Like we didn't really see that. So like if he's going to do that, okay, like I'll entertain that. But Volk already said he wants to go up too. So if you're going to go up to get away from Volk and then Volk moves up, well, now you've run into this. Now you're running into the same problem. There are a few guys in the top 10 that he still hasn't fought. Topuria, Josh Emmett. So like we could just keep feeding Max whoever, you know. I don't really like him fighting the up and comers because then you basically ruined their trajectory forever breaking into. Because if you turn Max into that, like, well, I hate the word, but quote unquote gatekeeper of like the top 5, well then like no one's ever going to fight the champion because it's going to be really hard for them to get past Max. Max is like the champion that doesn't have the belt. So it's like, I would like to see him fight these other guys that are holding their position in the top 5, like the Emmets. We'll see if Topuria wins or loses. Am I the only one on earth that thinks that Max can make 135?
You might be, because I don't think he can.
Why not?
He doesn't have enough mass on him. He has had some bad weight cuts as it is at 45.
I guess.
Do you remember some of those first 2 Volk fights? Do you remember those? He did not look very good.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough mass. He's already lean at 45. Like he just where is he going to get that?
I know, but he's not like super ripped. Like you see some of these guys get on the scale, and then like I'm not saying he's not cutting right. Like this is in no way like me trying to tell Max like you should do it like this, but like Jose Aldo did it.
Maybe.
Dude, Frankie Edgar did it. Like BJ Penn did it. Like there's so many guys that like once you've kind of peaked, it's like go down. I feel like he can make it because I don't really see him being super shredded up. Maybe it's just like that Hawaiian body where it's just kind of like
just there.
He's just kind of flat, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know, man. Imagine Max Holloway with an 8-pack just towering over
Yeah, he
his
would be
bantamweights.
large at bantamweight.
Oh man, and you could throw him right in there with Sugar Sean, like to bring this all the way back around. I mean, I would bet my entire savings on Max Holloway in that fight, but either way, I would fucking pay to watch it. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's tough for Max, bro. He's in a very unique position that only a few people have ever been in.
I mean, has anybody ever been in this situation? It's hard to
Robert
argue.
Whittaker.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It's
and
hard
maybe Colby.
Yeah.
Just with the 2 lost, Colby didn't really beat all the rest of the division, so he's probably a bad example. But Robert Whittaker's is that guy.
He's
beaten everybody else, but he lost to the champ multiple times. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah. It's just so hard to argue for Max to get another shot at Volk being 0-3. Like, that's going to be the biggest,
I know. Well, my argument
after a 50-45 across the board last time out.
I know that this is the problem, is the last fight. Because the first 2 were so close that like and maybe I'm biased, especially back then, because I'm like a Max Holloway head, and like I love Volkanovski now being at where he is now. But like back then, I was riding Max hard, and I was like so biased. But like I had Max winning both of the first fights. A lot of people say he had 2 in the bag. I thought he won 1 and 2. So like in my book, it's 2-1 in favor of Max.
Really?
So let's run the 4th one and get it done, right?
And then run a 5th one, because why not?
And to the rubber band match, number 5. However, the last fight, Volk looked extremely dominant. And it's hard to argue with that, because he really, like, if there was a question in your mind, Volk he sealed it. He put the stamp on it, and like, he's like, okay, now shut the hell up and give me someone else. So it is very hard. But again, if there's nobody exciting, Volk will fight Max again. Like, mark my words. Like, because he's juggling 2 divisions. He wants to stay active. Not a lot of guys mean it when they say that they want to be as active as him. He means it. He'll fight 45 this weekend. He'll fight 55 next weekend. He's just that guy.
He is.
And if there's nobody else exciting, I think he would fight Max again, because it's a great fight. I mean, maybe you can't. I'm just going to go.
Yeah, just get back in there.
I think Volkanovski would take that fight again. It's not my first choice. It's not anybody's first choice. But when you have the 2 best guys, it's just like Moreno and Figueiredo. It's like, well, I guess we're just going to do it again. I don't think we have to do it again immediately. I think if Volk can hold on to the belt, gets through Ilya, maybe goes up and wins the 55, does the champ thing. Maybe Max beats somebody like Emmett. Like, there's a world where this could happen in a year. It doesn't have to be like, we're so, this MMA community, we're so like, give it to me now. What's happening tomorrow? And it's like, that we don't have to do this right this second. But Max is a champion in his heart, and he's not going to keep fighting unless he's the champion. So it's like, he either has to fight Volk again, or he has to fight in another division or go to another organization. I would hate to see that.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
The guy's a champion and he wants to fight for a belt. Maybe go up and do the BMF with Gaethje.
I mean, I'm not opposed, but I know Gaethje wants the undisputed, so it's going to be hard to get that.
Of course
one
he does. So yeah.
But I'm not opposed.
In line, Bubba.
I'm not opposed.
It's got stakes.
Yeah,
and it's got title implications. Like, if you go up there and beat Gaethje, I mean, I would say you're firmly at the table, right? Like, you could be potentially next at that division. There was a time where Max and Khabib were going to fight each other.
They were lined up.
That was like a thing. They were lined up. So it's like second best thing. I mean, there's still some options. It feels like there's not, but there are still options for Max Holloway. and I will watch every single one of them.
I'll be there watching Max.
Love that guy.
The best is blessed. I'll be on the Blessed Express always.
Real quick, we kind of got off on Max a little, but can we just talk about like how cool that fight was though?
That fight was bonkers.
Dude, Zombie, like classic Zombie, right? Like he was like, okay, he came out there, he hit Max with a couple clean shots, you know, Max's chin still obviously very well intact. I think he went to the corner after that second round, and I don't know if his corner said it or if it was just a thing in his head where he was like, look, I'm just going to like, if I keep trying to do this thing, I'm going to get pieced up and I'm going to lose no matter what. So I'm going to kamikaze pilot and try to like take his head off and either kill him or be killed. And that's why we love the Zombie. However, that's not a game. That's not a game you can play with Max Holloway. Like, that's what he wants out of you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he clipped him, busted him open, dropped him. Absolutely beautiful. Respect to both of these guys. Like, I was very emotional, actually. Like, from everything, from their walkouts, Zombie coming out to the Cranberries. Zombie. That shit had me fucking tweaking. And then Holloway coming out there, his entire country, I mean, state, right? It's his country. His whole country is on fire right now. And it's like, you know, he was feeling some type of way. And I haven't seen like a still shot picture of it yet, but the face that Holloway made after he put him down, like the frame that I saw, he was just like you could just tell he was like nobody messes with Blessed Express. Like it was just like so intense. And then the way he helped him up and hugged him and kissed him and put him on the chair, and then to see him retire, like the whole thing was just like class act from both of these guys. Love them both. They both asked for the fight, but I'm requesting, this is a cry for help. UFC, please stop giving our heroes number one contenders for their retirement fights. Right? Like, yeah. And again, they both sort of asked for it, so we can't really be that mad at them. But it's like, hey, yo, maybe throw my boy Zombie someone he can beat, and then he can retire. Same thing with Weidman. Like, yo, let's get Weidman a easy fight. He could just win one and then go home. Please. Like, for all of us, it'd be great. Because it's depressing as shit watching our heroes go out face down, ass up, bro.
Yeah. It's the nature of the sport, unfortunately. Everybody, all the legends tend to go out that way. You hate to see it. But the way the Zombie went out is gotta be the most honorable way to end a career of all time. Without a doubt.
Dude, on his shield,
he said, you know what? I'm going out this round. He said, you know what? 5 rounds? No, we're doing 3. I'm done at 3. That is so...
You gotta love
to see that. But you hate to see it at the same time.
It was... Yeah, it was incredible. That was just written. That's the way it had to go.
Yeah. Shout out to the Zombie. Shout out to Max Holloway. The boys are back in town. We're back cooking up some content over here. Got through the bantamweights, got through the featherweights. What else? We'll talk about. We'll get back into our groove a little bit. Next weekend is Sydney, Australia. That's my guy. You know, we'll have to come out with the breakdown on that versus good old Shawnee Boy Strickland. That'll be a fun matchup. We'll
get into that one.
But
yeah, I could get into that right now, but
it's good to be back.
That's a better fight than people. It's a better fight than people think. Sorry,
we'll see about that. I don't know about that one.
Oh, come on, bro.
Next, we'll save it for our breakdown. Hopefully, we should be getting that breakdown. We're back. I expect to be back. If your schedule permits, we're back full time, and hopefully a lot of content for you guys. Good to be back. RJ, we're out of here. Take us out with something. I don't know what you got for the people.
Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Tell all your friends and keep watching, and we'll keep making videos. We love you guys.
We'll see you in the night, and then I'm stuttering. We'll see you in the next episode. Yeah.